Hi fellow cakers! Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful buttercream rose cake. You guys know how much I love piping buttercream roses. We have cake pops, we have cupcakes, and now we have this sweet little rose cake. We have had a lot of requests to make another ombre inspired cake, so we thought that this would be the perfect accompaniment to our rosette cake for a gorgeous smash cake design for a little lady's first birthday. It's so beautiful, it's so much fun to make, so let's get started. So the things that we're going to need to make our rose smash cake are a 6-inch round cake. I have 4 layers here that are all cut to 3/4 of an inch high. A white 10-inch round cake board to place it onto. We have some of our sweet buttercream recipe made up for our decoration. 3 104 piping tips, as well as some cupolas and piping bags, and of course some spatulas as well as some scrapers. Now the first thing that you want to do is create your 3 shades of beautiful ombre buttercream. Now since we did our ombre rosette cake, I've had a lot of you request to find out how I do my perfect ombre and how I know that the shades are going to match. So seeing as this time I'm actually using 2 colors mixed together, I'm using a Wilton Peach and the Sugar Flare Pink that you know I love. And I'm going to show you my technique for doing that because it's 2 colors and it is really hard to mix it flawlessly and to get those shades lining up. So what I've done is I've sectioned off a big chunk of our buttercream, and that's going to be our medium color. I've done a lot because that's going to be our filling layers as well as the crumb coat. Then I have 2 smaller amounts in these bowls that are going to be my lightest and my darkest shades. And then you'll notice I've got a little bowl over here that's all by its lonesome. That's where I'm going to start mixing up the perfect shade. So adding first some of my Wilton Peach and then some of the pink. And I'm just going to take a spatula and stir that around. Now you want this color to be quite thick, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more of both and just give it another stir. And now that I've got that, I can add little dollops of this into our various bowls. So I'm just going to start with our lightest color. So now I'm going to move on to our mid color and then just stir that in. And now that we have all 3 of our colors sorted, it's ready to start working on the cake. Now, since this is a smash cake, I'm not going to go ahead and use a cake plate as well as our board because we really just want Bub to have fun with this and to smush it all around. So I'm just going to place some of our medium color onto the board, a little on our cake, and then just start stacking them all up. And then you just want to go ahead and apply a nice thin crumb coat to the entire sides and top of the cake. And then I'm going to go and pop this into the fridge for just 10 minutes. And the final step before we start piping is just to trim off that top edge. So now it's time to start getting prepped for our piping. I've placed all of our colours into a piping bag with our cupola and our 104 tip. I also have some cookie cutters out. I have a 2-inch round and a 4-inch round, and I'm going to be using those as a bit of a guide to know when to stop and when to start our new colour. So I find it's easier to mark out our 4-inch first, just placing it down and pressing gently, and then doing the same with our 2-inch. And remember, you don't have to be too perfect, it's just a guide for yourself. So now it's time to take our dark colour. We want to make sure that we're holding it so it is like a teardrop, so the biggest part is at the bottom and the skinny part is at the top. So we're going to start with just a little zhuzh up, as I call it, up and down, and then holding your piping tip on the side, rotating around and go all the way around that. And then we just start making our petals, applying pressure, creating kind of like a rainbow, back down and break it off, up, spinning the turntable as you go. And there you have your first row. Continue on your second row, just making the petals slightly longer with each row. Okay, and now we can switch to our mid colour. And just try to make sure that your rainbows aren't too happy. Kind of looking for getting a little bit flatter as we go along. In class we call them depressed rainbows because they kind of don't have enough oomph to get a real curve happening. And there we have our second colour. Going all the way to the very edge and just extending it that little bit to the sides. Now this cake with its petals measures almost 4. So I'm going to mark out 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 just in a few spots. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, it's just a bit of a guide for yourself. Now continuing with our light colour, we're just going to go round the cake and try to have as little breaks as we can. Working with our second colour. And finally our darkest colour. And there you go, we have a beautiful rose smash cake for a gorgeous little bub. It's so beautiful. It doesn't even have to be a smash cake. I would love this as my next birthday cake. I hope you enjoyed it. You know how much I love piping buttercream and flowers, so stay tuned for more lessons just like this.